6 Klay, in which he scored 30 points, made 8 threes. We had Kevon Looney with 11 offensive rebounds. You saw that on that final sequence as well. 22 rebounds in the game. And yeah, Steph putting him to sleep as well. So, Smitty, I come to you. What was the most impressive of those 3 things for the Warriors to close out the Memphis Grizzlies?
You know, I think for me it's Kevon Looney, and it's a combination of this entire year because you had Klay out at times, you had Steph, you had Draymond, but the one guy that was consistent that played throughout this entire season was Kevon Looney in this game. But I also loved the way Andrew Wiggins played today, especially in that fourth quarter. But Kevon Looney, obviously they go to that small, depth lineup. He doesn't get a chance to play and finish a lot of games. But as the Memphis Grizzlies went bigger, played more Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. together, Kevon Looney got a chance to play. And did he make the most of it? The 22 rebounds, the plays he made, and it just summed up his entire year. He was solid and a guy we don't talk about enough for the Golden State Warriors. He has done a phenomenal job throughout the season and throughout these playoffs, but especially today with those 22 rebounds.
Andrew Wiggins, we saw the 18 points and 11 rebounds, but he had 10 in the fourth, and it was really before the game broke wide open when Steph and Klay got hot down that final stretch. So those buckets were huge for the Warriors in the early part of that fourth quarter.
Well, you know he's so talented, Chris, and you know he was an all-star this year. But I think when you watch Andrew Wiggins, you always want more because you see how much talent he has. But he's played a solid game for them tonight. He has a solid season, and for him, as people don't understand, there's a lot of times he has to play the power forward position. Draymond understands how to play the 4 or the 5. But Andrew Wiggins has to guard the biggest guys, so he doesn't get a chance to get a lot of looks. I think today he was more aggressive, the 11 rebounds, but also being able to attack more. You take your hat off to him. They're going to need more of Andrew Wiggins being more aggressive offensively going forward for them to be a successful team. Love Jordan Poole, but you got a guy in Andrew Wiggins. They need both of those guys being aggressive when people load up on Klay and Steph.
I know Game 6 Klay seems like it's something fun, a moniker we gave him, but the stats don't lie. In Game 6's, Klay Thompson averages 33 points a game, right? Warriors 7-2 in their last 9 Game 6's, and he brought it in this one, made 8 threes, and scored 30 points. What is it about Klay that in pivotal big games like this, he comes to play at that next level?
What I love about him, especially this year, I mean, 2 years being off the game, and obviously he's still a little bit rusty. His timing is not there, but this just tells you what he's doing away from the game. We don't get a chance to see the cameras. He's still working on his game. Everybody's been saying, you know, can't wait to see Klay come back. He comes back, and he's had some spurts, but I think today was one of those days he put it all together, and he always seems to have the right answer for the most important time for the Warriors organization in big games. Klay is always there.
Yeah, Warriors back to the Western Conference Finals. First time since 2019. Back like they never left. And Jared Greenberg out covering this series. Caught up with Kevon Looney, who had 22 rebounds, 11 of them offensive.
You're thrown into the starting lineup.
Yeah, Lou!
And you pull down 22 rebounds. What's going through your mind right now?
The last game, I feel like we got out-rebounded, we got bullied a little bit. So I wanted to come in and set the tone, and I feel like I did that. That was something I took pride in, rebound something that I get paid for, so I want to go out there and do my job.
Kevon, you went from starting all of the Denver series, coming off the bench this series. It was thought you couldn't play next to Draymond in this series. And then all of a sudden, you have this type of impact.
Right. Me and Draymond have been playing with each other for a long time, a lot of meaningful games, so we knew what it took to win this game. I've been playing with them guys all year, and so it wasn't nothing new for me. That's what they expected from me, and I went out there, did my job, and we got the win.
After being down by as many as 55 points a couple of days ago, now you're going to the Western Conference Finals. What was the mindset coming into tonight?
We just wanted to defend home court. We've been a great home team all year. Last game got embarrassed. We wanted to show our pride. We've been champions here for a long time. We wanted to go back there and show everybody what we made of, and we did that. We got another round to make it to the finals, so we'll get some rest and look forward to West Conference Finals.
All right. Enjoy those 4 days off. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The dirty work. Steven Adams in that lineup, so you got to play Kevon Looney. And the Warriors respond with 70 rebounds, Smitty. That's the most that they've had all season. That's answering the call.
It is, and that's just hard hat, dirty work between him and Draymond Green and that entire team. What they did, they said, we're going to come out here and we're going to play big boy basketball with you, the Memphis Grizzlies. We know you got size and strength with Jaren and obviously Brandon Clark and Steven Adams, but we're going to come out here and bang. And the experience, I think, in that fourth quarter was the difference. They got a chance to execute on both ends. I thought the Grizzlies played well, but they didn't execute at a higher level or the highest level like the Golden State Warriors did. And then they had two closers in Steph Curry and also Klay Thompson, which is totally different than what the Memphis Grizzlies had. They have some guys that you got to be worried about the Memphis Grizzlies next year, especially with a healthy Ja Morant and the experience they gained these last two postseason, especially this one. It's going to be tough right now. It'll be a tough out for Memphis Grizzlies next year for any team playing them. I can't wait for next year for the Grizzlies, but turn the tables now and talk about the Warriors. They're back. They're confident. It's going to be interesting to see this Western Conference Finals.
And they can just relax and watch the Game 7 between the Mavs and the Suns as they battle that, get a little bit of rest, and hopefully get Steve Kerr back and he's feeling better. Looking at the rebounds, okay, you look at Draymond Green, 16, Kevon Looney, 22, Andrew Wiggins in double digits on the rebounds. But Steph Curry with 7, Klay Thompson with 8, and then Steph and Klay, top of their games, combined to score 59 points. It seemed as if they were like, efficiency, we're going to throw that out. We're just going to go for it. And they just attacked the entire game.
They did, Chris. I think in Game 7s, you don't worry about your percentages. However, whatever it takes to win this ball game. And Kevon Looney showed it the way he rebounded the basketball. Andrew Wiggins showed it the way he played in that fourth quarter. Draymond has always been solid defensively and always the way he's been able to control the game defensively and as a point forward. But then Klay and Steph said, hey, we're going to take shots, we're going to make shots, and we're going to shoot daggers. And if we hit them, we'll be sending the Grizzlies home. They went after that experience, and they did not want to go back to Memphis. I was a little afraid for the Warriors if they had to go back to Memphis because that crowd and the energy for them young guys, this could have been a great one to watch.
Yeah, and if you looked at the Grizzlies' body language following the loss, I mean, they were 21-6 when Ja Morant didn't play, but they looked shell-shocked at how that game ended. Why do you think it unfolded that way in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter where they scored just 7 points?
Well, it's experience. They're going up against the Golden State Warriors who've been there, done that. They've been together. This group has been through all the different scenarios in the game of basketball over the last 8 to 9 years. And then obviously those guys are hungry. They haven't got a chance to get back and be healthy and play together in 2 years. Now they're back healthy. They want to get back and prove that they can get to the championship, get to the Western Conference Finals, and also win it all. That's their mindset, and you can see right now they are locked in. This was a tough game they had against the Memphis Grizzlies up until about 5 minutes, but they did not forget that beatdown they had in Memphis to get this one to a Game 6. And I think the Memphis Grizzlies, they'll look back at this one and all the other ones, but Game 4 was a huge game that the Memphis Grizzlies got to go back and look at.
The first 3 quarters and really through the start of the fourth quarter, it seemed as if it was the Dillon Brooks versus Klay Thompson duel. That's what we were getting, matching them shot for shot. Brooks 30 points, made 7 threes. Desmond Bane also with 25. Just not enough gas in the tank down the final stretch. But those two guys to be playing without Ja Morant, impressive to say the least.
Yeah, and I thought they did a wonderful job. Those guys on the wing played extremely hard. They came out and competed. Dillon Brooks had struggled. We know he was suspended for a game, but I think the way he came out and played was just phenomenal for them. But what I love is, I will say, Jaren Jackson Jr., he took another step. But the guy for me, the absence of Ja Morant, Tyus Jones played phenomenal, especially in those last 2 games before this one. I mean, throughout this whole time playing in big games, he had something like 60 assists and only like 12 turnovers, and then he averaged like 20 points in those 2 games. I thought he did a nice job. This entire young team of the Memphis Grizzlies, I was impressed how they handled themselves and how they competed with the Golden State Warriors.
Yes, indeed. So for the Grizzlies going forward, what do you see as far as their future is concerned? You know, you take steps as you're trying to build to win a championship. What is it for them to take that next step to get to the conference finals, try to get to the finals?
Well, I think right now is they have a deep team, but they're going to lose somebody. I mean, I don't think they'll have the same exact team, and they're going to have to, and the management and coaching staff are going to have to figure out who they're keeping, because they've had some guys that play extremely well. You see the free agents right here. I thought, Melton played extremely well, coming off the bench. DeAnthony Melton took his game to another level. I love the way Brandon Clark played. I mean, they have Xavier Tillman. They have Steven Adams. We obviously know Jaren Jackson Jr. is not going anywhere. But they got to figure out what they're going to do with Kyle Anderson and Tyus Jones. That is huge. Both those guys are free agents.
Yes, certainly a great team that has been ascending. 56 wins, tying the franchise record for the most wins in Grizzlies history, and ascending the Western Conference standings throughout the regular season. Very consistent, even winning when Ja Morant was out. You saw it on your screen, 21-7, even through the postseason, playing these playoff games without him. Klay Thompson, we talked about the shots that he made, 8 for 14 from three-point range. In this Game 6, you know what he shoots from outside in Game 6s?
Let me know.
60%.
Say 60?
60% from three-point range in his Game 6s. What is this Game 6 Klay thing all about? Because it just seems like it's something that us in the media, we're like, oh, Game 6 Klay, it's funny, but it's a real thing when you look at the stats.
I think for him we know he's a Hall of Famer, right? But I think when Klay gets to these games, the bigger the series, the later in the series, he just goes to another level. And I think the next step for me is watching him be more consistent like he was Klay before these injuries, and then his defense. But I am impressed for a guy to miss the game of basketball with those two type of injuries for the last 2 years, to be able to come back and have this type of impact, playing a lot of minutes. You don't see the